Welcome to Health, Wealth, and Wisdom with Evan and Deb, bringing you the medical, financial, and general wellness experts that help you live longer, stronger, and richer lives at any age. And now, from the Senior Voice America studios, here's Evan and Deb.
All right, we got the next guest on AM1470 WMGG, Health, Wealth, and Wisdom, is Nick Schklair, and he's the author of In Search of the Silver Bullet. This should be interesting. Is it something with Twilight? I don't know. We're going to find out. Nick, welcome to Health, Wealth, and Wisdom.
Well, thank you so much. Look forward to it.
So, In Search of the Silver Bullet, that's not like a vampire one, right?
No. It's, well, actually, it would have been werewolves, but...
Okay.
Werewolves, vampires, what's the difference?
That's right.
No, it's a little bit more mundane. This is really what you need to know, or what people go looking for, hunting around in order to start a business for the first time. And this is kind of addressed to, I would say, people who are, 40 plus, because what's happening in our economy, a lot of people have been with large corporations and now find themselves not in large corporations. So the point of the silver bullet is that people look for the silver bullet, and quite frankly, they start out thinking that there's got to be some simple way that I'll become rich overnight. And I'm here to say, I guess, that everybody, going into business the first time, the silver bullet doesn't exist. But there's a certain amount of internal drive and motivation, enthusiasm, which first of all helps. But in my book, which is How to Help Fund, Found, and Do a Startup or Get into a Business, I give a step-by-step formula for business success. In a sense, my book and approach is a silver bullet to succeed, although it's easy to talk about, but it's kind of hard to do. It takes a little while, a lot of work.
Yeah, I mean, you hear it all the time from people. Oh, I can do this on my own. I could start my own business. I've done it, and I can tell you, it ain't easy, is it?
Absolutely not. It's one of the things. A lot of folks, they're maybe at a company and they're saying to themselves, geez, I'd like to get out and do it on my own. It's a little uncertain right now with my company, so maybe I should ask coworkers. Wrong. Don't ask coworkers. Because coworkers like the fact
right.
They like the fact that you're sitting next to them, and everybody talks about how easy it is to go into business. But the fact is, if it was that easy, everybody would do it, your coworkers included. Don't ask accountants, don't ask lawyers, because they're essentially there to advise and not essentially to run a business. They run their own business. But the point here is that it's not an easy thing to do, but if you do it in a kind of a step-by-step fashion and cover your bases and do the planning, which I can get into in a little bit, but that is what really ensures your success. But the first thing, the most important thing, is to figure out, do I have a market for whatever product or service I'm offering? I mean, my background is I received an MBA from an Ivy League institution, and I'm saying having an MBA from any institution in a small business is a hindrance. It really holds you back.
I like that. Too much education, right?
It's a matter of too much education, but the fact is you're trained to be, a subordinate or a soldier. In other words, shooting and saluting. And in business, you've got to do everything yourself.
Okay. That's a good point. I agree with you 100%. I mean, those MBA programs, you see the guys come out of there, and they're really trained for these big corporations. They're not trained for, you and your partner or you and your wife or you by yourself. Strike it out on your own, are they?
Absolutely not. As a matter of fact, when I completed it was some time ago, but the fact is that there was one course on entrepreneurship. But you're really designed, you come out designing, able to do financial analysis, which, by the way, I can do pretty well. I had an MBA in finance. But that only carries you just a little bit. I can construct financial statements. Big deal. I mean, if I happen to be in I'm selling hot dogs on the corner, knowing how to do financial analysis will not help me sell more hot dogs, depending on where I am.
It'll help you buy the hot dogs. Right,
yes, you might be able to. You might be able to. You might be able to get a better price and figure out whether or not you're making money. I mean, that part of the problem, I think, is that I'm offering, in my quote-unquote wisdom, in my book here, I'm offering a couple of takeaways. One is like how to figure what your market and what your product is, and by the way, where to get help free. That's so cool. You can get all kinds of free help. You can get free software, lots of free stuff, and also a list of questions, and most importantly is kind of how to construct a business plan. So, when you start up in business, you have to reinvent yourself. Now, there's a guy by the name of Warren Bennis. He's an organizational strategist, and I'll quote him. I hate to do this, but I'll say, people who cannot invent or reinvent themselves must be content with borrowed postures, secondhand ideas, fitting in instead of standing out. Now, every time I started, I'm a serial entrepreneur. I've done it about 4 times. And every time I started, I reinvent myself for a different, whatever model it was. One was I was a publisher. I became an Internet guy. I started an Internet business and travel. Another one is I started a software company and ERP software. And the other one was I'm now currently manufacturing a veterinary product. And I know nothing about veterinary medicine.
Wow, that's pretty impressive. You've done a lot of different things. I got a question for you. Got to take a short break. When we come back, I want to answer the question. It's a tough economy right now. Should someone think about starting a business? And if they need to start a business, what do they need to know in the current environment? AM1470 WMGG, Evan and Deb in the afternoon, health, wealth, and wisdom.
The June issue of Senior Voice America is full of great stories, like our annual hurricane tips, as well as stories about getting relief from insect bites and tips for summer foot care. Read regular features like Moth at Cancer Answers, Senior to Senior, as well as the entertainment and happenings calendar. Pick up your free copy at all Kmart's and Winn-Dixie's, or at CVS pharmacies in Sarasota, Hillsborough, Polk, Pasco, or 7-Eleven in Pinellas, Manatee, and Polk County. Receive your own home edition. Subscribe today by going to SeniorVoiceAmerica.com.
Your dating success starts with the right choice. Are you single and still playing guessing games?
Call Tampa Sarasota Singles at 941-400-2490.
They find, screen, qualify, and match the right type of singles for you. You could be Tampa Sarasota Singles' next right choice.
Call us today at 941-400-2490 for your dating success.
It's your 90-second update with Health, Wealth, and Wisdom, and I'm here right now with Ruth Vanovich from Care Placement Home Health Agency. Oftentimes, family hires friends, neighbors, or a private individual to care for loved ones. Ruth, I've heard you talk about how this could be a costly mistake. What can you share with us about making the right choice between a licensed home health agency and someone down the street?
Well, first of all, you have that safety net. When you hire on your own, just remember that person's going to call in, get sick. They may not show up. Where are you going to get someone to come in on the spur of the moment to take care of mom, dad, or maybe a child? You have a home health agency, licensed agency behind you. That's their responsibility, accountability, and they're licensed by the state of Florida. So if they do something wrong, you have recourse. So that in itself, it's the true safety net.
Right. People think they're saving money, and in the end, they're not saving anything. It
costs. And believe me, as you know, I'm a legal nurse consultant. I get called in on those cases. Believe me. You think you're saving $1, it's going to cost you more. When you have an agency, licensed agency like I have, those people are bonded, insured. Not just that, I do background checks required by the state, and then I go one step further. So it pays off. Don't try to save the $1 at the wrong time.
Right. Well, that's your 90-second update. We're here right now with Ruth Vanovich, Care Placement Home Health Agency. Ruth, what's the website they could find you at?
Well, that's a very good question. They can find me at rmfcaremanagement.com, or they can Google me, Ruth Vanovich, RN.
And it's 727-787-8677. If you need some expert advice or you need some information, just contact Ruth at Care Placement Home Health Agency.
Are your days of shorts and short skirts gone because of varicose veins and spider veins? Don't get rid of those clothes yet. Advanced Vein and Vascular Solutions can help. They can treat those ugly bulging veins and exterminate your spider veins using the latest technology, including Vein Wave. Doctors Izzo and El Khair are board-certified vascular surgeons. Call 813-258-2273 to make your appointment at any of the 4 Bay Area locations. That's 813-258-2273 for Advanced Vein and Vascular Solutions.
Little Van Halen, Michael Anthony, he's the bass guitarist. Today's his birthday. I think he was pushed out for Wolfgang, whatever the guy's name. Yeah, I think they pushed him out so that Eddie's or whatever their son could be in the band. That's kind of dirty trick. So, but I liked Van Halen the best. You know when? When David Lee Roth was the lead singer.
Yeah, he's good.
That once they got the other guy, I was like, yeah, I'm out. So, all right, we're talking to Nick Schklair right now, and he is the author of In Search of the Silver Bullet. You want to know how to start a business, why you should start a business, maybe why you shouldn't start a business. He's given us the answers to that. So, Nick, like I said before the break, this is a tough economy. There's no doubt about it. We're not getting much help from banks when we want to start a business. So is this the time that someone should start a business, or do you take it issue by issue?
Well, I look at it this way. It's not the answer is in a bad economy. The answer is not just yes, it's hell yes. And one of a couple of reasons for that. Look at it this way. First of all, I mean, if you look at the historical perspective of what happened in the Great Depression of the 30s, during the Depression, there were more people that became millionaires than at any time before or since, including now. So we're going back before that, and we're going even into our, wondrous days of the, internet bubble companies, where a lot of millionaires were made. Now, and you also keep in mind that in 1934, a dollar was worth, in our terms, between $11 and $15. So we're talking about more millionaires who are really 11 millionaires. So that's one thing. Now, the fact is, though, when everything is in kind of a cycle, a lot of companies started out, the last cycle, perhaps in the late 90s, 97, 96, 98. A lot of them grew very fast. They got fat and lazy. Now, in the process, they're going out of business now.
Right.
And the fact is that there's a lot of workers available. I don't know if we check labor statistics, but we've got less people working now than in 2007. But here's the important thing. So labor, there's a pool of labor, skilled labor that's available. Secondly, what you also see is a lot of resources are less expensive. Rents are lower, or it's an ability to find all kinds of capabilities and services and all kinds of, places to rent, to set up a business. Now, I look at it, it's called profit and loss. Their loss is your profit if you're starting a business today.
Wow, that's interesting. And I never really thought about it that way.
It's kind of it seems kind of cruel, but you know what? Business is honestly if you want to think of it, it's survival of the fittest.
It's a dog-eat-dog world out there.
It really is, and unfortunately, if you're a large corporation, they can talk about corporate mission statements and being kind to everybody, whatever. But small companies, they get crushed underneath the foot, so they have to be very agile and very, and cut costs wherever they can, and they work much harder, and they can also, spin around and very quickly make decisions and change their market. Now, that's kind of one of the things that I believe that when somebody starts out, you need to really look at what's happening in the market, decide if you can do it, and write a business plan. Now, I hate, it sounds so boring and dull, and it really is kind of dull, but not really. When you're in the throes of it, a business plan is so important because, for one thing, if you're looking for money from, friends and family or venture capitalists, which, I don't know, may or may not happen, you better put skin in the game if you are.
Right.
But if you are, the fact is they're going to demand the business plan. Now, not having a business plan is kind of like, I think I'm going to sail I'm going to sail over to Europe in my 19-foot sloop, and I'm just going to jump in and I'm going to sail. I don't need a compass, though, because I'll just follow the sun. I mean, that's how kind of sometimes people start out in business. They really don't look at what they need to, what are the provisions they're going to need, how much money is it going to cost, and then plan the whole entire thing out. All the way from, I can get into that in a little bit, but there's so many segments of it. It's not hard to write one. In fact, if you're doing a hot dog stand, you can do a business plan in, one paragraph probably.
Well, the thing about the business plan, I like that idea too, is it lets you really, put your ideas on paper and think about what you're doing. For some people, that might be the best thing that they can do to say, you know what? This isn't for me. I've got a nice job. Everything's okay. I think I'm going to stay there. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, it's a good. You might as well try to talk yourself out of going into business by writing a plan. I mean, it's not for everybody. It's there was a radio commentator, I used to listen to. He was had a big insurance agency down in Miami where I worked for a long time. And he said that going into business is one of the single most frightening things that people can do. It's a tough thing, and you've got to be prepared for the sacrifices that you'll make. And it doesn't matter even the size. If you're going in with 2 or 3 partners, or you're just doing it by yourself with the proverbial hot dog stand. It takes courage.
And you get a lot of great things out of owning your own business, or if it's successful. Yeah, you could take days off when you want. You're the boss. You don't have to listen to you think you don't have to listen to any idiots anymore. Then you got to listen to your customers from time to time, and they're going to drive you crazy. So you think that there are some benefits, but on the other side of it, people don't always think about. And unfortunately, we have a group in Washington right now that beat up on businessmen, and they don't think, well, you know what, that 40-hour work week is like an 80-hour work week, right? Who has to take out the garbage all of a sudden? You might be in an office that you no longer can afford janitorial service. All these little things that you have to now do as a business owner because there's no one else there to do it, or you can't ask the other people to do it, right?
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, if somebody is hung up on titles, in other words, they were a financial analyst in a company, as I was at one time, and you pride yourself in your degrees and you pride yourself on the professionalism of what you do. The fact is, when you are taking trash out and you are sweeping the floor yourself because you can't afford to hire somebody to do it for yourself, when you're doing all of that and you turn out to be the guy that's answering the telephone, as a receptionist, and the guy or the gal that is, this is both men and women. A lot of women are joining in business nowadays. But the fact is, though, you're doing everything, and you have to kind of get your mind out of that corporate culture donut where you just kind of frozen. You think, well, I'm here in my nice office, and I'm sitting back, and I work from, 8:30 until 6 o'clock nowadays. Hours are going up. The fact is, if you're in your own business, you're putting in more like a 12-hour day, sometimes more, and you're sometimes working 7 days a week. I know I always do.
Oh, and you know what? Remember those nicknames you used to call your boss behind his back? Oh, those become your nicknames now, right?
You're absolutely right. I mean, it's one. I mean, it's a fun thing to do, but it's sort of like how do I put it? It's that when you have people working for you, you can say to them, well, just think of me, the boss, as your friend. Only I'm paying you, and I can fire you. Just kind of keep that in the back of your mind. That's really. I don't believe in power and the exercise and abuse of it, but the fact is things have to get done in a business, and a small business just has to keep its costs down. It has to, be well.
Right.
We just talked about what happens in Washington.
Right. It's real interesting. Nick, I think it's a great idea, this book. I want to check it out, too. I've always, I've been in business now on my own for, 23 years?
Yeah.
This is exactly, I thought about this, but, I'm not an Ivy League grad. I'm only University of Miami.
Don't hold that against me. Don't hold that against me.
And, no, I think it's a great idea. It's In Search of the Silver Bullet. What's the website that goes with it?
Okay, I've got a couple of them. One is WBZZUB. That's businessunderbelly.com, BZZUB.com, and the other one is businessunderbelly.com, and that's business spelled out, under spelled out, and belly is B-E-L-L-Y spelled out. And, you know, they can find all they need to know. And if anybody is interested in calling me, I'm happy to talk to anybody that has some questions.
Okay.
More than happy to consult with them for for nothing. You know, just have them give me a call. I'll be more than happy to take the calls and.
Okay,
you know,
and that's 904-827-7437.
That is correct.
All right, businessunderbelly.com or bzzub.com. I can't tell you, if you're going to go into business on your own, you know someone that's going into business on their own. Check out this book. I just from talking to you, I know it definitely would be a help, Nick. Nick, thanks so much for joining us. Best of luck with it all.
Thank you so much. Happy to talk to you again. Okay.
All right, we'll keep that in mind. All righty. That's it for us today, Health, Wealth, and Wisdom. We'll be back tomorrow here to finish up the week and take you home. AM 1470 WMGG. It's Evan and Deb in the afternoon. We'll see you tomorrow at 4.
This is 1470 WMGG, Dunedin.